All right, this conversation is going to be such a fun one, and I'm going to say thank you for the overtime with Dan Bickley. What a game.
Let's party! I'm just channeling my Torey Lovello, Mike. Yeah, what a game indeed, huh?
How funny is it that he's, like you said before we went on the air, he's kind of leaning into this party animal thing because it's the exact opposite of who he really is.
Yeah, and what's great about it is it's very, very relatable. And you know, this town it's a big event sports town. It's a let's go and find the best party kind of sports town. And you're getting it all from the Diamondbacks right now. You were lucky enough to be at the game last night, and so was I. And I'm here to tell you the vibe in that stadium last night might be the best I've ever experienced. And I'm even including the 01 World Series because back then baseball was very new. It was very fresh. Success came very early and easy to this franchise. Well, at least it looked easy for a team that made the playoffs in its second year of existence. Then there's just been a lot of garbage for the last 25 years. And now to do that to the Dodgers, you can't underestimate what the opponent and reveling in their misery means to the context of this story. It's part and parcel with everything because for the longest time, the Dodgers and the LA fan base, they don't look at the Diamondbacks as rivalries. It's one of those one-way rivalries that are unrequited and it drives you crazy because you're like, wait a minute, treat me as an equal. Hate me like I hate you. And the Dodgers are like, you're like our little brother. We don't care about you. And so for the first time ever, the Diamondbacks have eliminated the Dodgers from the postseason, and you can put it right in my veins, man. I tell you, it's why the Valley is just so satisfied today.
It was in that building. They were there early. They were loud early. They were into the game. There was a lot less blue in that crowd than I thought was going to be.
Same.
And as you said, you've been covering this. What I love about your coverage of sports is you're a realist and you say it exactly like it is. You don't pull punches. And for you to say this is the best it's ever been, that was an electric atmosphere.
It was, and you could feel it the minute you walked into the stadium. They were engaged from the first moment. And what's really, really cool about it to me, Mike, is that there have been any number. Let's keep the Suns out of this example, but we've had a couple of really traumatizing, horrible losses with the Suns at the end of playoff chases the last couple of years. What I'm saying here is that when we have sports teams that get big platforms and they get moments to do big things and they draw big crowds, more often than not, our sports teams have failed spectacularly. The Diamondbacks, even this year, for all the good they had done, they had a terrible record with crowds over 40,000. So every time they got a big, huge draw at Chase Field, they tended to fall on their face. So last night was this moment where you can clinch a playoff series at home. Hasn't been done in forever. You can do all these wonderful things. You've got all these people wearing red and believing in you now, and they came through. And that inning when they hit 4 home runs, no one has ever seen that because it's never happened before in baseball history. And the enjoyment and the disdain that it seemed to kind of inflict on the Dodgers, again, it was just so gratifying in so many ways. And now at the front of it all, you got this. And here's the thing, too. So 2001, we had this really pedigreed veteran team full of great baseball personalities. There was Randy Johnson, there was Luis Gonzalez, Mark Grace, Steve Finley, Matt Williams, Curt Schilling, all these guys. They had tons of postseason experience. This team's kind of the opposite. This team's a bunch of kids, man. And so now that they have gotten through a regular season and they've seen what the grind is and how hard the grind can be, and now they're out on the other side of it, they're playing liberated and free, and it's quite something. And they earn everything that they're hearing and getting today.
And lucky to be there. Everybody talked about they kind of snuck in. They backed into the playoffs, and then they took 2 from Milwaukee. And so that's not a big test because you can't tell much winning 2 games. You just got hot at the right time. 5 wins in a row and the last undefeated team in the playoffs. What do you think the Phillies and the Braves are thinking about playing this team now?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think the Phillies and the Braves, they're locked up in mortal combat right now. That's a heavyweight series. That's Ali Frazier kind of stuff. So I doubt they're focusing on the Diamondbacks yet. But I will say this. When you look at both those teams, whoever gets out of that series is going to be favored over the Diamondbacks. But I would really like the Philadelphia matchup because Philadelphia is a different animal. Their fans are insane. It's nuts. It's crazy in Philadelphia. That environment, I would love to see our baseball team get dropped into that environment and see how they can hang. Because I think they do okay. Atlanta, great team, but it's just not the same. It's Atlanta.
No, there's nothing like a Philly fan base.
No,
nothing.
No, and so now that
they boo their mascot.
Yes, yeah, they booed Mike Schmidt, right? Yeah. They don't play around. They're just they're full of vindictiveness and spite and anger, and I think that would be a great series to behold. I don't know what portends for this baseball team going forward because they received a great break in the formatting of this series against the Dodgers. The way it was structured with the days off, it allowed the Diamondbacks to kind of hide the weaknesses in their pitching rotation. Now you got a 2-3-2 format, which is first 2 games for the Diamondbacks are going to be on the road. Then the next 3 will be here. Then the last 2, if necessary, will be in the road city. You can't hide your pitching rotation in the National League Championship Series. So they're going to be at a disadvantage there. But the way they're playing now, the way they're connected, the way they're vibing, who knows? I wouldn't put anything past them.
Did you not expect? Did you have any idea that this could happen for this team when you saw them in spring training and watched the beginning of the season?
When they got to 16 games over 500, I've got a pet theory about baseball teams. When they get 10 games or more above 500, they are a serious baseball team and demand to be treated as such. So there was a time when I was like, okay, this team really has a crazy blend of athleticism and speed and youth and precociousness and audacity and all that stuff. Then that midsummer mudslide happened where they just lost. They lost 25 of 32 games in the span of 42 days. And it shook everything I thought about them. I'm like, who knows if this team even has 2 good young players. We all know Corbin Carroll's good. And then fortunately, the way they kind of moonwalked into the playoffs too really made you question what's the capability of this team. It's almost like qualifying for the playoffs liberated them from all this pressure they were harboring just to get there, and they've been a juggernaut ever since. The thing I can't wrap my head around is this baseball team has won 2 series and is in the National League Championship Series. They've played 1 home game.
Yeah.
It's incredible. So, these best of 3, best of 5 series, the path is real easy when your teams don't lose.
Yeah.
Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine how easy things become when your team doesn't lose.
My last question is, you alluded to this. The team in 01 was a team of veterans put together. This has been a different philosophy. From Derek Hall on down, they've built this team from the ground up and from the farm system. This is teams built a little bit for longevities too. What do you think of this pathway?
Yeah. No, listen, that's what really makes this exciting. Now, I will tell you, from the experience that I've gained covering sports my entire life, very often you get fooled by the idea that a playoff appearance is the precursor of things to come, that it's only the beginning. You have no idea how many times I have been wrong covering a team that played in the playoffs, lost, and then you take solace in the fact that, they're young. It's just starting for them. You got to be careful that nothing is guaranteed to this team, but the way they've got talent stacked up, the quality of this young talent, the experiences they are gaining now, you've got to be real optimistic about this. And I tell you what, man, it would be quite something. We are a Suns town. We all know that. We love football second most. Baseball is a distant third for us. If the Diamondbacks get a second championship before the other 3 major pro sports teams in town get their first, that would be quite an accomplishment for them, wouldn't it?
It sure would be.
Sure would be.
Listen, I can't thank you enough. And
you're the best, Broomy.
Go get some sleep.
I've got it, man.
That's Dan
Let's
Bickley.
Let's party!